to be here again.
Great to be here as well.
Thank you. So we heard from Jack that if you miss China, you miss the future. And, 1.4 billion consumers. Do you think this is true? And do you think Canadian businesses are ready?
I think Canadian businesses have been very lucky for a long time to have a really big market directly to our south in the United States. And
might have got a little distracted with them.
Well, we've built up our success. I mean, so many Canadian companies, you talk to them and say, have you thought about trading internationally? They say, no, we don't trade internationally. We just trade to the United States.
Right.
They're already trading internationally.
Yeah.
And it's something
we
that...
had to be. I mean, we're 2%
we had to be, and we needed that market access, but we take it for granted, and we need to now realize that what we were able to do in creating success in Canada is relevant to the world. We take tremendous pride in our diversity and having communities with people from every corner of the world in all of our neighborhoods, businesses. We now need to look at being bolder, being less modest, less quiet, and get out and realize that what we do well in Canada, we can and should share with the world. And the success of China in getting people out of poverty, in creating 500 million people in the middle class, means there is a market there that is excited about what Canada is doing. And we just have to realize that even though it's further physically, what Alibaba means, what the internet means is it's really not that far in terms of finding your customers, and it's incredibly worth it, and it's a great, exciting opportunity.
Great opportunity. Right. So Jack, people often say that going to China is just too hard, right? There's language, your English is amazing, by the way, the distance, the culture, the red tape, the regulations that are one way and that change even more when you're successful. Canadians might say, well, it's easier to go to the US, as you were saying, France or the UK, but why should China be on the top of companies' international strategies?
Yeah, this is first, doing business in any city or any different country is difficult.
Totally.
Right. So as an entrepreneur, don't think there's a lot of hanging fruits there.
No, it's always difficult as an entrepreneur.
You as an entrepreneur, you know that there's no low-hanging fruit. The only thing you start to plant now and they get it.
Right.
And the second is that the opportunity.
Yeah.
When there's no country in the whole world today have like a 300 million middle class and soon growing to 500 million middle class. And second, China is transforming.
Yeah.
China in the past 30 years focused on exporting. Next 30 years will focus on importing. President Xi said in next 5 years China will import $8 trillion US. Because the China today, when you have such a huge growing demanding from the middle class, they need great stuff.
they
need high
stuff.
quality food, agriculture things, but I don't think China can produce that much high quality product. So this is like China is going to be the opportunity. And the other things, as entrepreneur, one thing we have to do is curiosity and learn.
Yeah.
So by learning, if there are so many people already doing business in China, why you cannot? If Lululemon can do it, if Canada Goose can do it, why you cannot do it?
Yeah.
So this is what I want to prove. 18 years ago in my apartment, I talked to the 18 founders. I said, we're not only proving internet e-commerce. I want to prove one thing. If Jack Ma and these 18 people can be successful,
out of an apartment,
80% of the people in the world can be successful. We don't have money. We don't have anything. I mean, I don't have a rich father or powerful parents or uncle. Up to today, we did not get even $1 from China banks. So if we can make it, you can make it. The only thing is that you have to think big, think of the future, and start to do now. So China, nobody can afford to losing that huge opportunity. So Africa is good, but also takes very difficult. So any country is difficult.
Right. but this is just a big reward. And I know we have just an enormous amount of ambitious Canadians in the room today ready to build this.
Yeah.
So Prime Minister, what's the government doing to help more Canadians export today?
Well, I think a big part of it is just shifting the frame a little bit. I mean, what we're trying to point out is that what Canadians are doing, what Canadians should be proud of ourselves, is world class. I mean, we're trying to compete in a world where China, with 1.5 billion people, is rising, is exporting, is importing, is an extremely powerful player. We've got 35 million people in Canada. We need to get the very best out of every one of us. And we need to be bold and ambitious. And we need to realize that we do have these extraordinary values, qualities, and products to share with the world. But we're competing with a world that is filled with people who are out there saying, we're number one, we're the best, you need to do our stuff. Canadians, we tend to be sometimes a little more modest, a little more cautious, a little more private. We need to push. We need to get over that hump. And that's why Canada has been so focused as a government on working with partners like Alibaba, on working with e-commerce giants to get people to realize the opportunities for growth, for jobs, for entrepreneurs to succeed in the world by getting out there, by realizing that selling across the street is fine, but selling around the world is not much harder. The products we make, the quality, the brand, I mean, people look at that maple leaf and they say, oh, okay, that's a guarantee of good values, good products, good approach to things, environmentally responsible. I mean, there's a great brand we have. We just need to do a better job of elevating, because I know that as people, eat lobsters from the East Coast, as they try on Arc'teryx jackets, as they discover maple syrup and how good it is in cooking, as they discover all the things that we do well, there will be room for tremendous success. And as a government, you'll see from the Canada Pavilion out there on the trade show floor, there to help you with everything, for all your questions from how do you get through the red tape, or how do you launch, or how do you get your space on the mall, how do you get the Canadian support, how do we deal with IP issues, all those different things. We are there to help you succeed, because when small businesses succeed in Canada, all Canadians succeed.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They certainly do, and small business has been the backbone of this economy for a very long time. So let's, Jack, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about technology. There's a lot of people, especially small businesses, who see technology as something to fear rather than an opportunity. And we are going to see massive shifts in AI and driverless vehicles, in all sorts of things that are going to radically transform our lives, I think the same way e-commerce did a decade ago. So what's your view on this?
Yeah, I think technology is going to destroy a lot of jobs. But technology is going to create a lot of more jobs.
Right.
And this is for sure. But of course, for this technology revolution, for the artificial intelligence and data technology, is going to fundamentally change a lot of way we think, a lot of way we do the business. What I worry a lot is that today, a lot of knowledge-based things, computer in the future can do better than man. We should not teach the kids do the things that computer can do better.
Right.
So the thing worried me is not about the technology. The thing worried about is how can we train and educate our kids in a way that 20, 30 years later, they can do things that computer cannot do.
Yeah.
So you should teach computers, you should teach our kids creative, innovative, team sport, team sportsmanship, culture. These are things, creativities that the machines cannot do better. And I don't think the machine, the technology is going to conquer people, because people have souls. We have value. We have a belief, which machine does not have. Don't worry much about that. And also as SMEs, leverage the technology. Without the technology, without the internet technology and data technology, small business has no chance to compete with big companies. So by leveraging technology, today technology is so cheap, cost effective, use it just to try to use it. But the thing I want to convince the government is that we should not, in order to comfort those technology or killing jobs, they do stupid things. There's a case study in 1836 in UK. There was an act called the Red Flag Act, because at that time the UK invented the cars. A lot of horsemen got very upset and angry. They say cars is going to kill our jobs. So went on demonstration. They went to the government and say, stop this, otherwise we're going to do this and that. So the government passed an act called Red Flag. Every car should have a flag in the front. No car is allowed to drive faster than 7 miles per hour. No car is allowed to drive faster than a horse. If your car is driving faster than a horse car, your license will be taken away. So this is called Red Flag Act. And this is happening today, and it's going to happen tomorrow. So the government definitely say, well, in order to protect the jobs like that, they want to kill this.
Right.
So I think, don't be scared. Trust our young people. Trust ourselves. Trust human beings. We can do definitely better.
It's amazing. So I love this example about the horses and the cars. And so how do today we not fear technology? How do we make room for the new disruptions that are going to have to take place, because they're going to be massive, and there's going to be the old guard that's going to say, well, let's keep this here and let's protect it. How do we usher that in so Canada can continue to be that leader?
Well, I think we're already very much facing it. There is a lot of fear and anxiety about automation, about AI, about technological advances that are going to put people out of business, and there is going to be significant disruption in the workforce and in the way we do things. But I know that if faced a choice between trying to resist it and hide from it and slow it down as much as possible, or decide to get in front of it and figure out how to lead it, Canadians want to lead. And that's why we're investing millions of dollars in AI, in quantum computing. We're investing in advanced research from a scientific level so that we can actually be part of figuring out not just how to work AI, but how to work AI in a way that is consistent with our values and our frame that Canada is perhaps better suited to figure out than many other countries in the world. On top of that, we need to start preparing for this transition, which means, yes, making sure our elementary school kids are learning how to code, learning how to be powerful users of technology so that they can stay ahead of it, but at the same time, understand the creativity, the diversity that sparks innovation, all the things that, as you say, computers find it more difficult to do, so that we can be powerful users of technology as it changes. We need to make sure that we're investing in post-secondary education, in research, making sure that everyone has access to the tools to be able to succeed in this changing world. And we're also making sure we're investing in people who are mid-career, or even approaching the end of their career, who want to retrain, who want to go back to school, who want to be able to be part of the changes that we're in, so that they can also benefit from technological changes. And yes, there's disruption going on, but a country like Canada, with the size, with the education, with the scale we have, and with the investments and approach we have, and also with that diversity, when you talk about things computers can't do, and the challenges come, when you get a room filled with people from every different corner of the world, different languages, different backgrounds, different stories, and you set them to work solving a particular challenge, nothing can match the innovation, the creativity that comes out of that meeting of cultures and that reflectiveness. So